You know what's funny? I was thinking about today, folks. I was thinking about this today. I did a lot of Boston area media last week. And I brought this up. It was like this huge, like, oh my God, how are the Bills favored in this game? Like, it's a huge affront to them. They couldn't believe it. I go on WEEI, our sister station in Boston. Did a spot with them. First thing out of their mouth. Sal, why are the Bills favored in this game? Why do you think that? I'm like, okay. My best explanation was, well, they've been really good in December. They are the defending division champs. They still have Josh Allen. The Patriots have played a softer schedule. Give credit to them, but it's also a 1.5-point game. It's about even, right? This day and age, you don't give 3 points for a home team. It's like 1.5 to 2. So saying it's an even game. Like, seriously, is it that much of a huge offense to you? I wonder if today they realize why the Bills were favored. By the way, think so? Even game could have gone either way. I mean, I just didn't think it was like that big of a deal. And, of course, the Patriots were playing up as some disrespect, and that's okay. That's cool. That's what teams do. Bills win 35-31. Welcome back. Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show. Sal Capaccio with you on a Buffalo Football Monday here on WGR. We'll get to sit up, stand down. Hey, buddy, a little bit later in the show. A lot of you calling up right now. Let's get to Nikki in Connecticut. Hi, Nikki.
Hey, Sal. Thank you for taking my call, man.
You got it.
So I got to say, this was a great game in terms of, being the comeback kids that we've been since basically week one, right? But I think the one thing I'm still struggling with is just it's pretty clear at this point we're probably going to the playoffs. You can't have halves like that. Like, that was a horrendous half to the point that I wouldn't be surprised if it was Buffalo Stadium, half the stadium starts walking out at the end of that half because of how it was. And I think it just comes down to the one person that I keep coming to mind every single time I'm watching these games and I'm watching these halves is Brandon Beane. It's like I something you said earlier about coaching, which I completely agree with you, which is why I give Sean McDermott all the credit in the world, because you have to coach up to what you have in front of you. But it's about what's in front of you. And the only person that can control that is Brandon Beane. And I'm starting to truly question Brandon Beane's capabilities in our locker rooms, in our buildings. And hopefully things pan out this year. Hopefully I'll be eating my words. But I still see the writing on the wall as Brandon Beane got to go.
Okay. Well, I think that there's been some free agents that have not hit. There's been some draft picks that haven't hit. I think there's also guys that are playing and stepping up and playing better than people thought, like a Shaq Thompson signing, a Trey Davis-White signing. That being said, of course, the Bills know they can't play a half like that. I mean, of course, Nikki. I mean, you're not saying anything they don't know. They know they can't play halves like that and continue to sustain that and win games. But they won it yesterday, and all you can do is win the game in front of you. Let's go to John in Lakeview. Hi, John.
Hey, Sal. Thanks for taking my call.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so disheartened sometimes by Buffalo, the city, and our fans, the mafia. It's like the hand wringing over Beane and McDermott and this team and this roster is all I hear. And as soon as something starts to not go our way, that's all you hear. The game script, listen, everyone's talking about this terrible first half. Even the first half, if that call is called incorrectly in the first third down, we had a 3-and-out on the first drive, and it's a different game.
It's amazing. These little tiny details that can go one way or the other, isn't it?
100%. If we hit that pass, and then it's like everyone wants to talk about the misses by Beane, but then no one wants to talk, like, even – last year, as late as last year, everyone's, riled up about how bad of a pick Kincaid was. You look at this year, our offense almost doesn't function without that guy. And you could go down countless, Dawes. I was like, why are they picking Jackson Hawes? Like, why are they picking another tight end? Now I understand. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, okay, you can look at teams, look at everyone's roster is flawed. It's because there's a limited amount of cap space. You got this unstoppable offense in the Bengals. You could go that route, and then you don't have everyone who's clamoring for a number one wide receiver and blah, blah, blah. You get that, but then you don't have a defense. You know what I mean? And it's like the top defenses in the league are getting 4 or 5 stops a game. The best number one defense gets, 5 stops a game. The Bills do that, and somehow it's never So to me, it's like, and at the core of it is this. You heard Josh Allen last week at his podium speech after the game. He said, hey, thanks for sticking around. And he said it kind of tongue-in-cheek. Like, at least the fans stuck around this time.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of weird. It stuck with him what happened in Baltimore because people were leaving at the end of a Sunday night game.
He sees the first half comments from everyone in Baltimore. So to me, it's like, hey, let's give these guys have a belief in themselves. Let's believe in them until they show us that wrong. They're 10-4, Sal.
Yeah, let me go, John. I got a lot of people on hold. I want to address a couple of things. Okay, I appreciate you. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for the call. Yeah, you got it. There have certainly been misses in draft picks. Keon Coleman is a big whiff at this point. Like, that is something that the Bills, now you look back and go, it has not worked. I don't even know if the guy's going to be on the roster in 2026. He could maybe be a healthy scratch again next week outside of disciplinary issues. That certainly has not been a big hit. Dalton Kincaid, his availability has been an issue. When he's been on the field, he's been really good, looking like a better pick than it was maybe beginning of the season. But you certainly have picks where you can pick apart and say no. Cole Bishop's looking like a nice pick right now. He drafted James Cook. I think that's a really good draft pick right now. Osiris Torrance is on this list. I'm going to give you a comparison to another team I've brought up many times before. Folks, the Kansas City Chiefs are not going to make the playoffs this year. You know what part of the reason is? Because they actually haven't drafted as well as everybody seems to think they do. They have a great quarterback who this year isn't having a great year, and he's not covering up for all their imperfections. All those great wide receivers that they were supposed to have and draft, and Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, like, what's that gotten them right now? And I'm just making a comparison to say it this way. Every team has flaws. Every team misses on draft picks. The Kansas City Chiefs have hit some really great picks like Trent McDuffie, no doubt. Karlaftis looks like a really nice player, right? Obviously, Chris Jones, he's been there a long time. Go and look at the ones they've missed on. It's a long list. And I think you can do this with any team, even highly successful teams. No doubt, Brandon Beane has to wear they missed on Keon Coleman and other players along the way. They've also hit on players that are helping on this team right now. 803-0550. Denny in Niagara Falls. Hi, Denny.
Hey, how's it going? A couple things. I know you were talking about draft picks. I want to talk about coaching and stuff, but just real brief. Poyer and White are helping Bishop and Hairston beyond belief. That's probably the most impressive thing I've seen this year besides having one of the most incredible offensive lines in the game and obviously the best quarterback on the planet.
He has. Jordan Poyer's done a really nice job to stabilize that secondary. You're right about that.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, I don't want to see him leading the team in tackles because that's a bad thing. But
Sure.
Helping the rest of those guys, I mean, that's something to build off of. The thing on defense, if they have any chance at all, Epinesa and Rousseau got to step up their game. I mean, Rousseau's getting paid. Epinesa, I watched him play even at Iowa. He'll make the occasional play, but he's not. I mean, Bosa's been their best player, and I'm actually pleasantly surprised with him. But if they can take it to that next level. But coaching is what I'm most concerned about. This team has everything written on the wall talent-wise to beat any one of these teams that will probably be in the playoffs. Even if Baltimore makes it, I still think that they're just as good, if not better. But I don't see McDermott, beating Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh when it matters most. I just hope he doesn't clench up and get conservative. That first half was an epitome of, or like a microcosm of his entire fallacies as a coach, all built up in one, and the team bailed him out. And I'll say this: I tell this.
Can I ask you a question, Denny? I do want to ask you though. Seriously, I don't mean to. I have to ask you. Like, so then, what was the second half when the coaching made adjustments? No. You said the players bailed them out. You want to blame it on the coaching in the first half, but not give any credit in the second half to it.
No, well, here's the thing. I'll say this much, and this is what I mean by it. If I tell everybody, because there's the people that, like the guy mentioned the hand wrenching earlier. You got the people that are like, they got to go, they got to be fired, etc. There's a shelf life that only lasts so long in the league with certain coaches and GMs. And then there's also the fact of, if you think of like the people that are homers that are like, you got to root for them and never criticize them. I'm objectively speaking here. I was a transplant 30 years ago, and I root for this team. I came up here when they lost 4 in a row, and I never rooted for the Jets or the Giants. I grew up down there.
Okay, yeah. What is that? Okay, go ahead.
But here's my point. My point is if you look at what's going on in the second half of the thing, if you close your eyes and they didn't draft Josh Allen, these guys, both Beane and McDermott, probably would have been canned a long time ago.
Okay, I don't know what that has to do with what you said, though. I asked you a question. I don't know what that has to do with what you said, though. Why? Hold on. Why are you not willing to give the coaching credit in the second half and say it's only the players, but criticize the coaching in the first half? I don't get that.
He had several. I mean, for not even challenging that call in the first half or his coaching staff.
Okay, agreed. They agreed that should have been challenged. That's right. And his explanation was they didn't get. Denny, you got to let me talk for 1 second. Hold on. His explanation was they didn't get the replay in time, and I don't know. And I was on the field, and they were hurrying it up, and we didn't have it in our booth because Chris and Eric kept saying we wanted to see a replay, and we didn't. So I don't know if they saw a replay in time. He should have challenged it. Okay, that's a blemish there. Again, what about the adjustments in the second half? And by the way, they did beat Sean Payton last year in the playoffs by 4 scores.
Understood. It's not going to happen this year, though.
Okay. Well, your default setting is then that it's just all coaching, and that's cool. That's cool. You just want to wait to say how coaching is bad no matter what happens. I'm sorry. I think you need to at least broaden your intellectual horizons to get a little bit farther than that, to be quite honest with you. And I'm not telling you that the guy is perfect at all. That was a bad first half. You could put it all on coaching, but you can't tell me everything was on coaching in the first half, and when it went well, it was all with the players because you have Josh Allen, who, by the way, threw for less than 200 yards yesterday. All right, we'll take a timeout. 803-0550.